Hello, students. I am Someri Akhtar from Alamkul Institution, and we have started this class 12th biology chapter, which is reproduction in human animals, reproduction in common. So, we were studying about the reproduction in animals and what are the kind of reproduction that are found, and we have studied asexual kind of reproduction, which include fission, multiple fission, and now today we are going to study about budding and sporulation. Then we will study about fragmentation. Okay, so starting with the budding. What is budding? Okay, this is also a asexual kind of reproduction, and here does what small projections which are attached to the parent body. Those small projections, like this is my finger, so these fingers are attached to my palm. Okay, so what happens, palm is a like parent body, and these small finger like projection, they drop out from their parent plant. Okay, and then after dropping out from their parent plant, each droppings develop into new kind of organism. Okay, example is yeast, and most famous example is hydra. Okay, so this is what budding includes, dropping out of the smaller portion or projections from the parent body, and then development of a new organism from that projection. It is called as budding, and it is of two types: external budding and internal budding. Okay, so we are going to study each one by one. Budding is what? Asexual kind of reproduction in which one more small projections are formed that initially remain attached to the parent cell, but eventually separate from the parent cell and become new organism. See, initially fingers like projection will be attached to the parent cell, and after dropping of this finger like projections, they will have the capacity to form new organism. Example is yeast and hydra. Okay, and now it is of two kind: external budding and internal budding. External budding is what? It is shown in hydra. Hydra means the finger like projection which have been formed, they will be like bud like. Okay, and they have repeated cell division in specific sites, and these bud like projections will mature and get detached from the parent body and fall on the land or surface area, and then they will develop into new organism. So this is what external budding. Internal budding, what happens in internal budding is something like this: a spore or gemmules kind of situation is formed, and inside this gemmules many small projections will form and start to develop. Okay, and then this small projection, once this gemmule is fully mature, then a opening is created which is called as micropyle, and all the small these finger like projections, small projections which are called as gemmule, these small projections burst out from this whole pouch like structure. Okay, and then they burst out with the help of micropyle, and after bursting out, each spore will develop into a new organism. So this is called as internal budding because they are happening under inside a layer. Okay, inside an envelope all the new cells are formed, and then rupturing of that envelope will release all the new cells, and which is known as gemmules, new cells, and then these each gemmule will develop into a new organism. Okay, so in this type of budding, a group of cell grows and develops in a common envelope and have high food content, germinate into new plant which is known as gemmule. See, in this envelope only they are getting germinating in form of gemmule. Okay, then the group of cells that grows are called as archaeocytes, and that are formed in extreme condition. Example is sponges. Sponges is a kind of animal, will come under kingdom Animalia. So it is the first phylum which we have to study in later classes. So this one is what gemmule will form inside an envelope, and after the maturation the micropyle will burst out and all the gemmules will release from this envelope, and each gemmule will develop into a whole new organism. So this is internal budding. Now comes this sporulation. Sporulation is basically what which we have studied in multiple fission. Multiple fission was like this one, no? The cyst is being developed around the group of cells, and these cells will form break into smaller pieces like this. And after the removal of harsh condition or unfavorable condition, this cyst will break out. This cyst will break, and all these spores will develop into a new organism. Okay, they will mature and they will develop into new organism. So this is what sporulation. Cyst, due to multiple fission, the cells are surrounded with multiple core, that is cyst wall formation occurs. Therefore, the release from their parents, this process is called as sporulation. It occurs in amoeba, protista, and monera. Okay, after the breakage of that cyst, all the breaking point of that cell will develop into new organism. Okay, then fragmentation. Fragmentation is basically what? Toot ke girna. Okay, parent body, somewhat this is filamentous parent body is there. Okay, and breaking of each point will give rise to a new organism. If this point has been break down from the parent, then it will form what? A whole new organism of that parent. Okay, so this is all kind of asexual reproduction which is found in animals. Now we will study about asexual reproduction in plants, and it is also of two types. Asexual reproduction in plant, first we will see the definition, what is it is called. In plant, asexual reproduction is called as vegetative propagation. Okay, vegetative propagation because they propagate vegetatively. They don't have any formation of gametes and they don't have the formation of zygote in this asexual method. Therefore, it is called as vegetative propagation. Then the process of formation of new plants from detached vegetative part of the plant is vegetative propagation. What it is saying, that formation of new parts or new plant from the older parts of the plant, like stem, like root, and like the leaves, or like from the flower or from the bud. The formation of new plant from the older plant only is called as vegetative propagation, and vegetative structures are called as vegetative propagules. Okay, this process is helpful in multiplication of seedless plants like banana, sugarcane, etc. And nowadays many artificial and natural resources are used for this vegetative propagation to occur, so as to have greater yield and greater variety of plant products. Okay, so vegetative propagation is of two kinds. One is natural, other one is artificial. So natural one is what we can see from the figure. Reproduction by root is there, reproduction by rhizome is there, corm, tuber, bulb. Okay, these are all the form of reproduction by root. Then reproduction by leaf, bryophyllum. Example is runner, stolon, offset, sucker, and everything. Okay, so natural vegetative reproduction, first is root, then underground stem, and one by one we will study. Okay, so first one is root. This can take place by the following vegetative propagules under favorable conditions. Root may, some plants have buds on their roots, and these small buds form leafy shoots which are called as slips on the ground and adventitious root on the base. Each slip give rise to a new plant. Example, guava, dahlia, Tinospora, etc. Means if you have seen the guava plant, their root are having a small bud-like structure in their roots, somewhat like this. If it is root of guava plant, so they have what, like this structure growing in their roots. So this structure is what, this structure is called as a slip on this roots of guava plant, and they have the capability to form a whole new guava plant once the root will be sown under the soil or ground. Okay, so this is what vegetative propagation done with the help of root. Now vegetative propagation with the help of stem. These kind of plants have modified stem which possesses buds which can grow into new plant. Stems are like this, and they have what, buds growing in them. So these buds have the capacity to form a new whole plant. Okay, now some of these modified stems are suckers, rhizome, bulbs, tubers, which we have studied in class 11th. Okay, so suckers are what, they arise from erect shoot base and grow horizontally underground soil and then come out new aerial shoot and later become independent. Suckers are like this. See, these stem part are going in underground soil, and after emerging in underground soil, roots start to develop from this stem, and then these root can be broken down and they can be planted in a new soil area, and the whole new plant will develop. Okay, then What is rhizome? These are those type of modified stems which possesses bud with sufficient food storage. The piece of rhizome containing bud can give rise to new plant. Example: ginger, turmeric, banana. See, rhizome. Rhizome is what they have nodes and internodes at their different sites, and when we will cut these nodes and internodes into a cut and then we will place into a ground or soil, then a new plant develops. Okay, so this is also done with the help of rhizome, and which is a modification of underground stem. Then bulbs, they contain very high reduced underground stem with numerous buds which can grow into new plant. Example: onion. The lower portion of the onion, which are also called as bulb, if we grow them into the soil, a new plant can be developed. Okay, then tubers, these are modified again stem branches. If we say in Hindi, जो हम लोग कहते हैं potato या आँख निकल गया है, so whatever the growing new patches, yellowish patches which are growing into the potato, these patches are what they are, the tubers, and these tubers have the capability to grow a new potato plant if they are put under the soil. Okay, under favorable conditions. Now, creeping stems, they have thin creeping stems that float on the surface of ground. They can be runners, offset, aerial stem. Okay, so they are runners and offset only. They are modified stems that produces adventitious root at each node. Example: grasses and oxalis. Means they are very small and very thinly layer of stems that have been passed into ground, and they have the capability to grow into a new plant round and round whatever they are passing. Okay, so this is what runner. And offset is what they are long internode runners that develops a tuft of leaf at the top. Example: pistia, ecornia. Means somewhat like this, they are growing and they have the capability to grow in water also, and the stem is again growing. Means, and they have some part of this is dropped into a, after the long growth, some part of this is drawn into the soil water or the aerial water, and they will grow into a new plant. Okay, then aerial stems. Aerial stems, some plants like cactus, in which aerial segments, when fall on the ground, they develop into the new plants. Means their main, the part of the stem which is still erect, and if it falls on the ground, they have the capability to grow on a new plant. Okay, then leaves. Some leaves in which bud develops on the leaves, when detached from the leaf, develop into new plant. Famous example is Bryophyllum. Bryophyllum leaves are having this kind of patches. So if they fall on the ground under favorable condition on the soil, they can develop into a new plant. Okay, then bulbils. These are fleshy buds that are produced on the axil of foliage leaves, and when they fall on the ground, they develop into new plant. Example is ajeva and oxalis. Okay, so these are different kind of natural vegetative propagation. After this is for today's class. In the next class, I will teach you about the artificial vegetative propagation, which will include grafting, which will include cutting, layering, everything will be there. Okay, so that's all for today. See you in the next class. Bye.